Sorry for my absence. I've been kind of fatigued and, I feel that kind of a break is in order. Just like, Philly in the Philippines said in his last vid, he's a little tired of holding the camera in his hand. And I understand his feeling. He's been going daily for years. With me, though, I don't make vids daily, but I put a lot of effort into a particular vid. Any vid, it takes me a week or so to put a vid together. Although it doesn't seem like it, I'm sure. But I continually play back the video, making little changes here and there before it's uploaded. And then still there are some mistakes. But, that's just the way I am, I guess. I just got worn out from YouTube, just like if I were an accountant. I'd get sick of doing taxes. And I gotta say, I'm kind of worn out from the tube, but I'm getting back into it. And I'm worn out from the Philippines too. I need a break, folks. I just want to say that, I always thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life here in the Philly Willy, otherwise known as the Philippines. But look, folks, I'm setting up to get the hell out of dodgy Dodge. And we all go through these changes in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. I may hit the road in another country and realize that, I really do miss the Phils. It's interesting, some people have asked me why I never seem to have a girlfriend. And I mean, the answer I usually tell people when I meet them in person is that it's really all about timing. People don't really seem to appreciate the significance of timing. I mean, even if you meet on a dating site, okay, that's timing too. Let's say you met the right girl online. You happen to not only be a member of the site at the same time, but active on the site at the same time of day. I mean, if you are late to reply to a message, she may get caught up in a conversation with another guy. It's really, when you meet someone, the right person, it's really all about timing. If you had joined like a dating site a week later, maybe she met someone already. And speaking of dating sites, what I heard from a few guys, they would join for a whole year. They'd pay in advance for a whole year. And what happened was, like, they just happened to meet they happened to hit it off with the very first girl they met. The very first girl they hooked up with, that was their girl. So they only needed the first month. So there was no need to pay for a year. That's just some advice I learned from people who have used paid dating sites. While I was traveling, I did meet girls. Like, for example, girls that worked in some establishment in some particular city I was in. She may have been even on camera in some of my vids. But when the camera was off, I'd go back in and ask for her Facebook, but I didn't put it on camera. So her and we'd chat, but, I'd have to go because I was moving around. And in a few cases, I did ask the particular girl here or there to join me on my travels. But, it takes a special kind of girl to just throw her life away and join me. She lives with her family, she's got her job, she's a student. And maybe the girl who would have done that, maybe the girl who would have been down with joining me was working a different shift at the same place. I mean, it's all about timing. The timing for me, it just wasn't really right. I just never really met the right girl. So why I don't ever seem to have a girlfriend, it's just, it's just not the right timing for me. But the good thing about my life is that I'm in no rush. Let's move on. There are some positives to being single. I mean, hey, it's the freedom you get. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want. It's not all bad being single. Anyway, let's move on here, folks. You know, I was always talking positive about Malaybalay, okay? It's the place I want to retire. It's the place I would want to raise a family. And those were based on my past visits. You know, I was there 3 days here, 5 days there, and it's my impression of the city was very good. I didn't have the same impression about other cities like I did about Malaybalay. There was just something different about Malaybalay. Malaybalay was very different, and I really liked it. But I was living there in Malaybalay. So what happened was I had promised someone I was going to take their apartment for 6 months. And so I, happened to shorten it down to 2 months through subleasing. Someone else would come and take it. And then I took off early. So I only stayed really 6 weeks. But if you are planning to live in Malaybalay as a single guy, you really have to be the kind of guy who can entertain yourself. I mean, when I went there, I thought, I heard that, everyone in my building will be foreigners. I thought, cool, meet a lot of friends. But I mean, everyone lives with their girlfriend. They stay inside. They do their own thing all day. So I was basically by myself all the time. But you got to be the kind of guy, if you're going to be in Malaybalay, who can entertain yourself. And I met a guy like that. He has his daily routine, and it suits him well. Some American guy there. He's one of the few guys who lives by himself. But there's just not a lot going on in Malaybalay, in my opinion. Hey, maybe I could be wrong. I mean, I can only talk for me because, some guys are going to like it and some are not. It's like if you see a picture, a painting hanging up on a wall. The exact same painting. One guy's going to like it and the other guy's not going to like it. There is no explaining. It's just what I call the vibe. Each city has its own vibe for each particular person. Some people are happy in Cebu and some hate Cebu, even if they're next door neighbors and they experience the same daily routine. But about Malaybalay, it's just what I found. It's just not for me right now at this time. Let's say, for example, I'm online. I meet some hot chick. She happens to be from Malaybalay. I'd be very happy to go back there and meet her. But, that just didn't happen. And the reason was, for me, it was just too small. And, it's all a learning experience. I'm going to talk about that more. But Malaybalay was just too small for me right now. And too small is the number one complaint I get from girls and guys who have emailed me about living in Malaybalay. And this comes off the recommendation of the video I made, sort of inspired some people to go to Malaybalay. And they had this vision in their head of what it would be. It turns out when they actually got there, it was not what they imagined it would be. And when I talked to them, the number one complaint was that it is just too small. But that suits some guys. We're going to talk more about this size thing later on. But speaking of me living in Malaybalay, okay, look, I think it's great if you decide to live in a particular city in the Philippines, for example, right? And then you realize that it's not actually for you because then you think it was like a mistake to live there, like you wasted time there. But it's not. You were just getting one step closer to finding your true love. I mean, hey, true love exists with women and it also exists with a city. You can love living in a city. Look, I've spent time living in Cebu, Angeles, Bohol, CDO, Malaybalay, Butuan. I've learned from every city I've been to. The way I see it is, I'm getting closer to finding my true love in terms of location. The place that is the true love for me. What I'm thinking right now, based on everything I've learned from past cities, is that my city, the city that I plan to live in for eternity, will be, are you ready for this? Are you ready, folks? Remember, this is based on all my past learning experiences. My city will be Metro Manila. And the reason is based on what I've realized about myself living in other cities. The number one thing is that, I want a lot of action around me. Being a single dude, right? I mean, if I had a family, it would be a different story. But number two, I want to be near an international airport. I kind of feel claustrophobic if there's no big airport nearby me. Number three, I want to be in a sprawled out place that extends a long way, which is something I've heard about Davao is like that. But Manila is definitely like that. Because look, Like, I like Angeles City, and I want to be nearby Angeles City, take weekend trips up there. And in Manila, you can do that very easily. There's an express bus. But the thing is, I was living in Angeles, and the main issue for me with Angeles was that it is just too small for me. There is no doubt that Manila has a lot of things going on. If not near me, like if I'm living there, a little a ways from me, but still in Manila. Look, it's crowded, which is great if you don't own a car. It has the Manila airport where you can fly anywhere in the world and anywhere in the Philippines directly. I mean, I could fly straight to Siargao Island if I want to. If I'm in, for example, like Butuan, I'd have to fly to Cebu and then fly to Seoul if that's where I'm going. And it sounds like no big deal, right? Until you experience an 8-hour layover in Cebu. But anyways, when it comes to Manila, you have to realize that you can't say like Manila as a blanket statement. I'm going to live in Manila. Like, there are so many areas in Manila that you have your choice of where you want to live. So I'll be updating you on the area where I choose to live in Manila. But it's definitely going to be in Metro Manila. I'm an action kind of guy. I need my Starbucks, bars. I need people. I want a huge park around me where I can go exercise. Even if I don't talk to people, I just want people around. You could consider Cebu the same as Manila, but it's just the vibe. The vibe of Cebu is not for Scotty Boy. It's like I said, you got the 2 paintings on the wall. There's a lot of peeps there, but it's just not for me. That's why I always say there are like Dumaguete people, Davao people, Cebu, Angeles people. It's just the vibe of the city that hits them. But what I really like about Manila is that it's like a country, and each area in Manila is like its own city. And whichever city you decide to live in, you will have a different daily experience. I am really down with Manila, but let's move on here, folks. One of the things I like about Malaybalay is the nature. It actually has pine trees. The air is clean, especially in the morning. If you walk around the trees, wow, it's like being back home in Canada. So that is a big plus with Malaybalay. And the other thing I like about Malaybalay is the girls. I mean, the girls are, I would say, on average, more beautiful in Malaybalay than they are in other cities in the Philippines. Just something unique about the appearance of a mountain girl. And also, you do get a lot of smiles there in Malaybalay from the girls. So that is another thing I do like about Malaybalay. But let's move on. I was considering living in Dumaguete at one point. I have some friends there, right? And I'm a big fan of the Ormoc theory, which states, if you have friends in a city, that city becomes much better. Even though everything around you is the exact same as if you did not have friends there. But just having friends there makes the place feel home. But what I wanted to say was that there's a lot of foreigners living in Dumaguete, and that benefits you. It's the amenities, the amenities that you now have as a foreigner in Dumaguete. All the foreigners benefit together because of economies of scale. But, I think Dumaguete 2.0, the one that's lesser known, I just wanted to point out, is Bohol. Because Bohol also has a lot of foreigners, which means that there is also a lot of amenities for these foreigners. And, that could include, like, you walk into a bar and there's other foreigners there, That's what I like about Angeles City. They have Philly's Bar. And they're full of guys, foreigners by themselves having a drink. And for the most part, they're very friendly and they're just regular peeps. And by the end of the beer, you have a new friend. Or, you could say an acquaintance. So next time you're in the bar and you happen to see the same face, it's now a familiar face as opposed to being a stranger. And this sort of makes the whole environment of the city you're in feel more home. But they have that same experience there in Bohol. Except in Bohol, I gotta say, the foreigners, I find they seem to mind their own business more. But in my opinion, it's just nice having foreigners around. But regarding Bohol, I mean, the main draw there is, I gotta say, it's logistics. Bohol is so much better than Duma when it comes to ferries going places. You have easy access to Mindanao, Siquijor, Leyte, Cebu, and also they have an international airport. So if you want to make a quick visa run to, say, South Korea, you just go to the Panglao and you fly out of the Panglao airport. So I just wanted to point out that in regard to Dumaguete 2.0, being that Bohol, namingly Tagbilaran or Panglao. And there are like a lot of pocket cities in the Philippines where there are a lot of foreigners. And they get a bad rap. These cities get a bad rap. But I think these pockets are the best places to live. And I don't think Bohol gets enough credit as, a foreigner pocket. I really love pointing out these new things in different cities. Not like that's a new thing that nobody knows about, but I just wanted to point that out. I was talking to someone about slum girls, and I know it's kind of a derogatory term, and I apologize for that, but I call them slum girls. And the reason I like slum girls is because of the difference between them and city girls. City girls, they want to dress up in the outfit. So they got their outfit on, and they want their shoes, and they went to the hair shop, and they got their handbag. God forbid a girl does not have her handbag. Then she needs to go get her hair done. 5,000 pesos flush down the toilet. I mean, look, she comes out of the hair salon looking the exact same as she did when she went in. I mean, she puts on pounds of makeup on her face. Look, city girls, they cram down the Dorito nacho chips, the fried chicken. Look, that's the reason, city girls, why you're covering up your acne scars with pounds of makeup. Compare that to slum girls, province girls, mountain girls. She's got her slippers, her shorts, her t-shirt, and she's good to go. She puts her hair in a ponytail and she's done. I have to say, I'm down with that kind of girl. And when a girl gets to the handbag stage, it's really just a turnoff for Scotty Boy. I've been on dating sites in the past, and I put in the description, I said, if you need a pretty outfit and a handbag to make you feel happy, then do not reply to me. But then I'm kind of pissed when I see a hot girl wearing an outfit on the dating site, and I message her and she doesn't reply. This has happened. I said, hey, why you're not replying to me? And she says, well, I saw your profile. It says that you don't like girls wearing high heels. And I said, oh, I'll delete that right now. Let's talk. Sometimes girls are hot to trot wearing their outfits. So I admit that, there is no perfect answer to this, to the slum girl versus city girl phenomenon. But I think the only ones who can pull off the city handbag girls are the ones with nice breasts and nice legs. Now, look, I'm not being derogatory. I'm just saying, come on, Holmes. Let's deal with reality. Most girls, they just can't pull it off. Look, you want to be independent, I get it, but don't come crawling to daddy when you fail in your job or your business, because that's what's going to happen. Don't ask me why I say this is how I feel, okay? Look, all I'm saying is Miss Simplicity is the way to go, my brethren. And the reason I talk about this is because I notice when I'm in a city how many Prada girls there actually are. And I think it's definitely increasing in the Philippines. Just remember one thing for sure. Even though the Prada girls are increasing, the slum or the mountain babes are increasing at an even faster rate, but they happen to be hidden away. Because, that's how things work in the province and the slums. They pump out the babaroonies faster than you can say, honey, where's the condom? Remember, folks, I don't mean slum babes in a derogatory manner at all. That is not my intention. The last thing I want to do is offend anybody. My forever girl, though, will be a slum babaroonie, I do believe. So I use the term with the highest terms of respect. The bike is gone, folks, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it's some big news because I put a lot of effort into getting the bike. I bought the bike for 155,000 pesos and put 20,000 pesos worth of stuff onto the bike, okay? So I got my joy out of it and I decided to sell it because I don't know what's happening in my future. So I posted it on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody told me I should make a video of it for the channel and sell it to a subscriber. But I did all this while I was in Malaybalay. So what difference would it make if a subscriber is in Manila, willing to pay for it, wants the bike? It's not like they're going to fly down to Malaybalay just to buy the bike. So I thought, it just makes more sense to post it locally on Facebook Marketplace. So I posted the bike for the price that I wanted, 120,000 pesos. Because look, this made sense to me. I paid a total of 175 for the bike, including all the stuff from Shopee, Lazada, because I wanted to fix it up so that's more of a Scuddy Boy style bike. So I thought 120,000 would be a good deal, considering I bought it 10 months ago, right? So I posted it on Facebook Marketplace for 120. But to my surprise, I'm getting offers from Filipinos for like 85,000. They say, please give it to me for 85,000. I'm thinking like, what the F, man? My expectations were just lowered. Look, this is the reality. Look, the reality is you may as well not fix up your bike if you buy one. Do not take care of it. Just run it into the ground, because Filipinos do not appreciate you keeping good care of your bike. They want it for the same price as if you really did run it into the ground. You spend money on a huge back box, like a 57-liter back box, an extra strong bracket to make sure the back box won't break, but they don't care. I decked this freaking bike out for comfort, even paid for an extra comfortable seat. So, the bum doesn't hurt during a long drive. I mean, it's a 2024 model. It's a this year model. So anyway, I found one Filipino, after swallowing my pride, who would buy it for 100,000. So he wanted a picture and all this paperwork with the, vehicle registration and stuff. So what happened was I went downstairs to my bike to get all this paperwork out from under the seat. And as I'm getting the paperwork out, my next door neighbor, who's a foreigner, he's downstairs. And he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm selling my bike." He said, "How much?" Now look, I wanted 120 for the bike, but I settled for 100,000. Now I could be like a Manila taxi driver and charge the foreigner more. I could have said to him 120,000, but I just can't do that. So I told him the same price as I was selling it to the Filipino guy for. And he said, okay, so he popped the cash into my hand right away. So I messaged to the Filipino guy, "Oh, sorry, somebody just bought it." And he was kind of upset. He said, "Hey, we already had a deal." I said, "Yeah, but there's no guarantee you're going to come here, and there's no guarantee you're not going to find like a scratch somewhere and said, 'Oh, I didn't know that was there,' and want a discount." And the foreigner was right there. He was putting the money into my hand, so I gave it to him. I sold it to him. So anyway, it's been sold. The bike is gone. It's now being loved by somebody new. But look, I really did love the bike. I circled the great country of the Philippines 2 times. I didn't film all of it, although I wish I did in hindsight, but I didn't. And so the one negative thing about the bike was that it did have 13,000 kilometers, even more than that. I think 13,200, which is a hell of a lot for a bike that's only 10 months old. And the other negative was that it was registered in Lapu-Lapu, in Cebu, which is not good for whatever reason. I can't remember. I think it's to do with if you're going to resell it. I'm not sure. I mean, it's the Philippines. Everything seems to be complicated here when it comes to government stuff. Anyway, the bike was very loved. Almost too much loved, but now it's gone. Now it's going to be loved by my next door neighbor, who was a very nice guy. But really, I am really happy to get rid of the bike. It's so nice sitting back in a chair in a bus and letting someone else deal with getting you there, taking care of the driving. Of course, that's only when the roads are normal, not the dreaded Cebu to Dumaguete drive. There, I wish I had my bike because it's only a 3-hour drive. On the bus, it's about 8 hours. But anyway, I'm on the bus. I can chillax with my laptop open, look out the window. If I went back in time, I would do the whole adventure again. Absolutely, I would. The drawback with the buses is dealing with, people coughing, playing their video loud on their phones, the construction. There's a lot of negatives with the buses, but there's negatives with the bike too. But to be honest, my biggest fear while driving was actually hitting somebody. I mean, the locals will just jaywalk. They'll walk out on the highway and barely even look. They'll stand in the middle of the highway, and I don't know. These people, they just don't care. I mean, you know as well as I do that the foreigner is screwed, even if it's completely the Filipino's fault. I know a guy who was in the province traveling. He was biking around the province. This was in Luzon. He was hit by, T-boned by a 16-year-old driver, a scooter, okay? I mean, really, T-boned. It was completely the 16-year-old's fault. And this 16-year-old's family was fighting for restitution, so he's dealing with this thing. I mean, he himself had damaged, he had a BMW bike. He had like 200 grand worth of damage to his bike. And the 16-year-old was just scratched. And the foreigner had to pay the family. The family was asking 50,000. This was all happening at the local barangay hall, and they settled for, I forgot, it was between 10 and 20,000, maybe 15,000. But you get this kind of thing. I was freaked out about hitting someone. But also, you know, I am very lucky because, you know, I still have my eyes. As I often drove with a no helmet and no eyewear while in the provinces. And this was to the behest of people who cared about me. But, you know, it felt good to drive that way. At some points, you know, I'll get another bike, but I did learn what I did want in a bike. First of all, I learned that if I get a 155cc, I will definitely go with a Honda PCX, as I sat on one and it felt more comfortable than my NMAX even. But what I learned from having my NMAX is that I really feel better riding a 125. One time I was in the Yamaha dealership having my oil changed in Malaybalay, and I sat on some other bikes while waiting for the oil to be changed. And I sat on, everything was a 125. And I must say, I actually felt roomier on the 125 than I did on my big 155. On top of that, like prior to buying the NMAX, I did rent a few bikes while in Angeles, and I felt good on the 125s because they felt lighter and more nimble. Also, I learned that I will not get a back box again because it's a major pain in the butt. Like when you have a guest on you, like let's say you got a girlfriend, okay? She hops on the back. Her hopping on the back is so much easier if there is no back box. So next time I get a bike, I will not get a back box. I mean, it was great while traveling, okay? But the back box, the extra power, the extra size and weight, I mean, it's really just not necessary if you're in the city. But if I do settle in one city, I'm gonna get a 125. I've got Bergman, Honda Click, Gravis on my mind. The negatives to taking a bus are the constant stops, you know, people getting on and off. I mean, it does take twice as long if you're on a bus. And look, if you're riding the bike, look, smooth roads do feel really good and they really are a luxury. But the smoothest, the best roads I had were probably in northern Luzon. But while traveling, you do feel like smooth roads are really a luxury because 90% of the entire Philippines, 90% of the roads were pretty rough. Look, this is the nitty-gritty with the bike, man. The bike was supposed to help the channel, okay? So it's interesting what actually happened. So what happened was, I just loved riding too much. I'd ride to some town and the plan was to film in this town. And I arrived on my bike into the town and I just sort of looked around and I said to myself, this town sucks. It stinks. There's nothing to film here. And I kept riding. I rode right through the town until I got to the very next town 2 hours away, and the same thing happened. I just kept riding. The next thing I know, the sun is setting and I didn't film anything. I just rode my bike all day. If I had arrived, for example, I did not have the bike. Okay, so I arrived into this small, boring town by public transportation. I definitely would have been happy to get out of the van or the bus and find a hotel in that small town and film my journey. So that is the thing that effed up my travel when it comes to filming. So really, as much fun as the bike was, it actually had the opposite intent of what I had imagined. I mean, specifically, you know, I wanted to film all like the nooks and crannies around the Philippines. That was the intent of the bike. But in reality, when I had the bike and the camera, I just didn't feel like filming the nooks and the crannies. I just had this passion to keep moving. I loved writing a tremendous amount. It was addicting. It was an obsession, and it screwed up my travel channel. Look, I'm not being derogatory here about the Philippines here, folks. I just have this phenomenon at the moment. You know, I got what's called Philippines fatigue. And I gotta handle business, if you know what I'm talking about, folks. So I will be uploading some more vids because, I'm going to be, let's just say, elsewhere, so, I'll get back to you very soon. There will be updates. The channel will be great, my brethren. Unlike popular demand, people are saying, I'm sure, that they are completely sick of this regular guy channel. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, but the channel will go on. The vids will keep popping out, and even though I'll be taken off from the Philly Willy, ultimately I will be coming back, and I'll just see you when I see you. I had just a story I wanted to tell you. I had a Facebook friend. She's about 19. I never met her in person, but she lives in Butuan. But her and I, we were only friends, right? Like online chatting friends. We've been chatting friends for a few months, right? And anyway, this girl wanted a foreign boyfriend. That's why she messaged me in the first place. But I was not planning on going to Butuan. So her and I, it was just not an option. I don't want to do the LDR thing. Anyways, we stayed as friends. So what happened was, her and I are chatting as friends, and she happened to meet a Filipino boyfriend, a boy near her, in her barangay. I call these guys barangay boys, okay? So I could tell from her Facebook posts, she was all over this, village guapo. She was infatuated. She was in love. So I told her something, okay? I told her something very important that she needed to hear. And after I told her, she stopped talking to me. I'm going to talk about this in a second. She was a bit on the defensive side of things. And what I told her was that, she's going to be pregnant and single very soon. Okay, so she did not like that comment. But I swear to you folks, this story is amazing. It was not even a month from when I said that, from when I told her she's going to be a single mom, she's suddenly single. The guy ran away. But why did he run away? Do you care to take a guess? I know it's going to be a tough question here, folks. Where are all these boys running away to anyway? I just wanted to throw that out there. Where are they all running away to? Anyways, he ran away and left her pregnant and barefoot. The guy got what he wanted and he took off. So anyway, the girl is sad, obviously. She is crying. Although honestly, the girl's an idiot. All these guys running away and the girls keep believing them, Even the girl's mom is crying. The mother herself was a single mom. So she fell for the same thing. My friend, the 19-year-old, she was basically raised by the single mom. So anyway, the 19-year-old's telling me that she plans to abort the baby, which I thought was illegal here in the Philippines. But I asked her, are you able to do this? I thought it was against the law. And she seems to not have any issue with it, so I guess it's available there. Now, personally myself, I'm anti-abortion, okay? And I just think it's your body, your choice. But it's your choice to also have unprotected sex, okay? So the consequences. So, these people who are pro-choice, don't play dumb, okay? That's what the statement I have for these. Don't play dumb. You know how babies are made. You just don't want to have the responsibility. I have one particular leftist friend who I had a conversation with, and so he's all pro-abortion. He says, a fetus. It's a fetus. It's not a human. I said, are you a human? He said, yes. I said, were you a fetus? Obviously he was. Fetuses are human. It's what you are before you're human, I guess, Anyway, I am anti-abortion personally. However, I have no issue with what others do. If you want to kill your baby, go ahead. I just hope you understand you're killing your baby. And I hope you don't do it. But the whole idea of telling others how to live their life, I'm also very against that. But don't do this, have an abortion. Just call it, I killed my baby. Change the term. Anyway, I talked to her and I hope that, she will keep the baby. But it's up to her. She said, she has no job. How is she going to take care of the baby? Well, I said, even if you did have a job, you would have to quit because now you have a baby. I have no money, she says. I said, yeah, well, you had no money before the baby. I think she was hinting at wanting me or someone to help her. I'm like, oh, yeah, right, that's going to happen. Anyway, I did advise her to find a foreigner. Okay, that was my advice to her. Like, don't play around with these local boys, these guys who have no plan, the village guapos, you know. They wouldn't know what a plan was if it hit them in the face. Find a foreign dude. And she says, how? You know, again, playing stupid. Like, you can't go through life like this, people. I told her to use dating sites to find a foreigner, and someone will take care of her, hopefully. I mean, it's like this. You fall in love with someone's soul. And what exists externally, you just have to accept it. I mean, if you love someone who has 5 kids, well, what are you supposed to do? Not love them anymore? You know, you have to accept the externals of whoever you love if you really do love her. Anyways, that's the end of that little story, folks. And thank you for paying attention to this long rant. There will be more. Until the very next video, my good friends, I will see you. And to be honest, I don't know what the next video is going to be about because I don't even know what I'm doing next week, folks. Adios to my great brethren.